how you perking? I hope you're perking good. So this video is being done, crammed in last minute a little bit here, based on major requests from y'all. I don't think I have had a period of time where there were so many requests on the same topic this hard in a while. So we're jumping on this. As I am filming, it is Tuesday, February 21st at 5:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in case anything comes to light about this reading when I've already filmed it. So we're going to do this. Balloons, the crazy objects in the sky. What the hell's going on? What are these? Where are they coming from? Should we be concerned or no? So we're going to take a look into that today. Me and Penelope here. Penelope is in some mismatched colors because I'm feeling mismatched because I got on a pajama shirt and this on top of it and I popped on a wig because today for me is day 8 of the Rona. And so if I start, you know, making some noises and stuff, I'm sorry. It has been a time. I am finally, I think, knock on wood, coming around to feeling halfway normal on day 8 here. But I was not about to have time to do a glam face, glam hair, and glam clothes. So you get the wig here. You get the wig. So let me go ahead and get this window over here because I am a licensed mental health clinician as well as a spiritual intuitive, and in these videos we take a look at the tea with the tarot. These are always all alleged, just my interpretation, okay? All alleged, just my interpretation. And we are going to move, man, look at all the, here, just let it go, stop touching it, stop touching it. We're gonna move this microphone, right here, and we are gonna dive into this. The dogs will be barking in the background because since it's day 8 of the vid, I have all the windows open right now to try to get some fresh air coming into the house, a nice breeze, air out all the sicky vibes that have been in this house for the last week of quarantining. And so they can see neighborhood feral cats, they can hear the borks of other dogs, they can hear the kids playing from neighbors' houses around, and so they're going to be making the sound of their people, and I'm sorry, there's not much I can do about that. So as I dig in here and get shuffled for us so we can start looking into what in the world these objects in the sky are, should we be worried, what are we looking at here? I'm going to mention that if you would like to have lots of extra perks like your own exclusive videos, weekly forecasts, your own Penelope, little emojis, exclusive content with videos and posts and all kinds of whatever, I might be repeating myself. If you want any of those things, you can become a member of the Perk Squad. And the Perk Squad shout out for today, because it's another one of the perks of the Perk Squad. Perk Squad shout out for today is, drumroll, Cindy Lou Loves Glam 2. Shout out to you, Cindy Lou Loves Glam 2. I love the name. That's really cute. Shout out to you and thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. We're happy to have you here. Alrighty, y'all, let's get on into this. Without further ado, let's see. Spirit guides, what are we allowed to know? What can we know? What are we allowed to know about the goings on in the sky? Let us know what we're allowed to know about that. I have a video on my proof playlist already. It's a video short, just a real short one, under a minute long, that shows that I was actually predicting that this was happening in our February 2023 predictions video. So already predicting that there was something weird happening. I'm moving this, I know, I'm sorry for everybody that's like, what are you doing? It just wasn't straight enough. And so I have the proof video there of already predicting that there's some weird sky events and shit going on that was going to happen in February, and here it has. So let's find out a little about it. Let's get some context up on this card, why don't we? Context up on this card. Okay. Again, I'm not making those noises I'm sorry, it's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. Day 8, man, day 8. So, from what I'm looking at here, already getting started, this is a good way to start this, okay? This is a good way to start the reading because it's giving me vibes for some of these objects to not be something that gives me a whole lot of concern. And here, let me mention this too before I get too far into this, that because I have had the vid, I have not been watching any news, reading about any news. I've literally just been trying to contain myself and stay conscious and, you know, heal. So when I saw yesterday as I was checking comments, everybody's like, do a reading on this. I'm like, has it already been figured out though? Is it, you know, I'm just now checking this like 7 days late or something. Has it been figured out? And people told me, no, it hasn't been figured out yet. So if anything's been figured out as of February 21st at 5:32 p.m. Eastern time, then I'm sorry, I'm unaware of what's been found out. I'm just going to read what I see here, going under the idea that it has not been found out yet, and I apologize for all the clearing my throat. So, again, this card being our first card here gives me hope that we're not looking at something here that is very concerning to me, at least not with everything. We'll get to the stuff down here that doesn't look so hot in just a second, okay? In just a second. What we're getting here actually feels like with the first object that was confirmed to be a balloon from China, this looks like people felt like they had egg on their face, like, you know, not feeling super resilient, feeling like, you know, that kind of thing. So feeling kind of embarrassed that they either didn't catch it, or that they didn't act sooner, or that they, you know, oh, they should have shut it down immediately, or, you know, whatever. That it looks like there's some embarrassment with that. And because of that embarrassment, it looks like there's some degree of like hypervigilance with, you know, being on the lookout, like, oh, I want to make sure that this time people feel like, oh, we spotted something and we took action immediately, you know. So it's a little bit of a trying to restore faith in you and your abilities. Whoever people that are supposed to react to this, President Biden, the other people in the government, people in the military, whoever's job it is to notice this and do something about it, looks like they're trying to restore faith in themselves from the people by, you know, noticing and taking action quickly this time on these other objects. So that's one thing. That's something here that I'm seeing for at least some of these objects that are out there. Down here, though, down here, this is where I feel like things get a teensy bit problematic, maybe, potentially even manipulative. So again, I'll let you just my interpretation, okay? I'll let you just my interpretation. Because when I'm getting these cards down here, this is somebody that's wanting to look really good, wanting to look really powerful, wanting to look really competent. They want to have that look. And there's things going on here that doesn't do that for them. This person's not in a good place, you know? This is not in a good standing. Things aren't going well for this person. They feel like they're out of control with what's happening. And there is a part of what they're doing that seems to be kind of a collaboration between them and another entity. I don't know if this is like between the government and the military or what, you know, between someone and another entity. This is kind of like, hey, let's find a way to make people think of this person as powerful and competent and, you know, this great energy about them, this great, you know, prowess about them. They're important and they're worthy and they're yada, 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 yada. And so what feels manipulative about this is that sometimes when we're seeing cards, especially not so great ones like this, and this feeling of being out of control, sometimes people are okay to, and you know, forgive me for what I'm saying, this, I say what I see, okay? Sometimes people are okay to rule out a fear, so to speak. So, you know, if we can mention these things and kind of get people a little bit afraid about it, but not be like, hey, sound the alarms, just like, I don't know what this may be, we're gonna have to look into this, hint, hint. They know that what they're doing is like literally saying, hey, don't worry, not a big deal, we got it covered, but they're kind of hinting, winking, innuendoing that maybe this is something that, you know, oh, we have to figure this out and we're not sure what it is and we need to take a look at it, knowing that there's gonna be people that are kind of worried about that, intimidated by that, and feeling like they need to wait with bated breath for answers from these people because these people have the answers, these people have the knowledge, these people are the source of safety. And so there is some kind of a weird vibe here going on where it's like they're trying to pretend that they're not kind of playing up on people's externalized safety. The fact that, you know, they know how human nature is. They know that people are, especially after knowing the first object was a balloon from China and people said it was spying some kind of a way or whatever, knowing that people would be concerned about that, there is kind of a thing that makes them feel powerful and cool, that people might be concerned about these other objects and that they're the ones with the answers and the control over people's safety. There is some kind of a weird complex about that that seems self-gratifying and like self-important, that I am not too keen on seeing here. So there may be a sense of kind of just looking around a little bit harder for things that could be out there, that those things would have been out there anyway, some of them at least, because this top row seems like at least some of these objects are not things to be concerned about. And so it's kind of like in some ways creating a problem where there's not one. Just saying what I see with that. However, let's go ahead and pull some more cards on this and ask the spirit guides, angels and archangels, if specifically there's anything to be worried about with this, you know, any reason for concern, any cause for concern with any of this sky object stuff. Let's just see what we're looking at. All right. You know, fair enough, touche with that damn card there. All right, so context, you know, we're going to get some context up on this one. Really? Okay. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. So, you will be your own pile. We're going to put you to the side for now because you've had quite a show of yourself. Little stack right there. We're going to put you over here to the side so that we can deal with these. And then we'll get on to that one. Okay. So that pile over there, I will say, is probably the reason why I kept saying at least most of these things aren't cause for concern. At least most. I'm like, why do you keep repeating that? Like, either they're cause for concern or they're fucking not. Like, but that's why. See, I say certain words and I don't know why I say the things I say until afterwards when things start becoming clear. Bodhi. And then it's more obvious of why I chose the words that I chose. Spirit guides know what they're doing. So, all right, over here though, let's look at over here first. Please hold. Buddy! We'll see if that helped or not, I don't know. Sorry. Over here. Over here. Okay, so these are the things that I'm not too worried about, okay? We'll get to the pile that gives me a little bit more concern in just a second. But with these right here, this is kind of talking about, like, yeah, some of the worry is kind of encompassed in what we have already talked about the manipulation of sorts, about kind of trying to, you know, provoke a little bit of fear or concern in people, but so that you can then be the savior for those people. There is that vibe here as well, where they're giving off this like, hey, listen to our judgment about the things in the sky with the star card. It's like, we've got all the information here. We've got these golden nuggets. We know what's going to go on. We can take care of you. You know, the Fool card is supposed to be one of the childlike spirits of the tarot, and the Ace of Cups is like, oh, you know, what's a kid to do without their parents? You know, that kind of a vibe. And so there is, again, this kind of going on, and for them to put this in this pile when we said, is there anything we should be concerned about, and they repeated that type of vibe that we were already seeing, then they're saying the action of being that way in and of itself is problematic and should be concerning in their perspective. Possibly because it is, you know, quasi-dishonest, again, because it's manipulative, and because it means that we once again get to externalize our safety, putting it on them, and our trust and depending on, you know, information, all of that on them. And that there's something that can be inherently disempowering about that. And, you know, when you give people that much power, you have to be able to trust that they can wield it in a way that really is for your best interests. And we don't always feel that way for us, you know. Sometimes we worry if the government is out for our best interests. You know, there's a lot of people that are a little bit sketchy about that. So, anywho, that's that part. Oh, Bodhi. Over here, though. Over here, this pile that we wanted to give it its own place. Yeah, we're fixing to give it its own place. We're fixing to give it its own place. So, and remember, this was on the bottom earlier, so I'm just keeping it. Well, I can put it over here, and we're not using that one anymore. These that came out, and they're being a different cause for concern as it relates to these three. I mean, y'all, looking at it, Three of Swords upright, Death card in reverse, Tower card upright. Like, this is an ugly set. This is an ugly set. And so, what this feels like for me, that has a bit of a cause for concern. I feel like there's a name for this, but I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, you know, sound off in the comments, because I feel like there is a name for this and I'm just, zoop, goes over my head. But what is the name for when, like, for example, a government takes what they have with this and they're like able to use it again in their back pocket at a later date, in a way that is disingenuous. I think there's a word for that, or a phrase for that, or whatever. What I'm trying to say here is, for example, this is just an example, but for example, let's say later on there's some issues militarily with other countries, and then the government wants to kind of be like, oh, remember when we didn't tell them anything about the sky objects before? Let's say now, like, oh, we didn't want to tell you this earlier, but really, you know, what it was this thing that's going on from this other country, and they were really doing this bad stuff, and we just didn't want to, you know, alarm anybody. We were controlling it behind the scenes, but this is really what it was. And so it's like later they find some kind of a reason to bring up the sky objects again and pin it on that or whatever, but that's not the case. There's something like that. Here's another example for just in case. Doesn't have to be this, but just in case. What if it's like, you know, oh, we have been flirting with the line, talking about stuff in space and extraterrestrials and things like that. So why don't we, you know, say something is happening, or could be a concern, or could be something from beyond or whatever, to get people a little bit freaked out when, you know, the balloons or objects or whatever weren't that at all, but we're going to kind of pin it on that because we can use that later. You know, there's some kind of a, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but there is some kind of a, if we can keep this, if we can keep this like hush hush, if we can kind of not ascribe a certain type of reasoning or thing behind this, if we can keep this ambiguous, that's the word I'm looking for. If we can keep this ambiguous for right now, then we can put a clear label on it later. So just store that in your back pocket for right now. And as I say, later, and it gets quiet, then Bodhi does his bork bork sound alarm. I don't know, it was just interesting timing. Because the Death card in reverse, this is like, I'm not ready to turn that over right now. Like, this is an unfortunate thing that's been happening. I'm not ready to turn that over right now. And then boom, Tower card, something happens that's, you know, a Tower moment, and we can pull back on the stuff that we weren't ready to turn over. Oh, well, now I'm ready to turn it over. And so I don't like how this feels. I don't like how this feels. And again, to be clear, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, I am a centrist. I have beliefs that lean right-leaning, beliefs that lean left-leaning. No candidate seems to adequately cover my belief set. I would be saying the same stuff if we were under a Trump administration. I would be saying the same stuff. I'm not just saying this stuff that seems a bit kind of dogging on the current, you know, people that be because it's Biden or whatever. I would be saying this if this same thing was going on under the Trump administration. I would. So just in case anybody wants to say that I'm picking on one type of party over the other. No, like literally I'm just saying what I'm fucking seeing. It doesn't matter who's at the helm. If I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this. And so there seems to be some weird like power grab moment building that could potentially come out later as information is released. So not too keen on seeing that there. Yeah, let's get one more card just to, you know, let's just see what's over here. But it doesn't look like it's going to completely work. And that reminds me, whenever, if you go back and see the YouTube short video that I put up about this coming up in the February 2023 predictions, I said something like, it's partly going to work and it's partly not going to work. And I didn't know what that meant, but here we're seeing it again. It's partly going to work. It's partly not going to work. So whatever it is that they try to use and throw out for later, partly going to work, partly not going to work. So, you know, you can lay out your plans, you can have ideas, doesn't mean it's always gonna go the way that you planned or the way that you hoped. And that's what I'm seeing here. That's the case here. So, so it seems here the first thing, you know, we already know as China, and we already know that there's probably some shady stuff going on with that. These other ones, it seems more like they're being more aware of what's in the sky now that they got embarrassed, and they're finding things that probably aren't too much nothing, all things considered, and that they are keeping that information ambiguous so that they can turn around and utilize that later. And we need to use our own discretion about that as things come up later, because we need to tie it back to what we see here. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. So, anywho, if you'd like a private reading from me, my website, BeasTalksAndTarot.com, you can schedule a private reading. I've also got other services. If you want to read the cards like I read the cards, I can teach you how. If you need a cleansing and a clearing because you're like, damn, this has been a year already. I need to get a fresh start. I wanna tune up. Then got Reiki Energy Healing over there on the website as well. Also got some life coaching for people that just want, you know, a helping hand and guiding them through. Can do that as well. So, anywho, got all that there, BeasTalksAndTarot.com, and stay tuned here for some puppy shenanigans, a B-roll with some puppy shenanigans, as if you didn't have already enough puppy shenanigans during this damn video, for crying out loud. But got some more coming up for you to try to lighten the load, ease things off. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Everybody continue to be kind to each other in the comments, even when you disagree. And yeah, just wanted to get this out to you. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get this up sooner than later, today, tomorrow, hopefully not too long from now. So fingers crossed YouTube is good and nice and allows me to, and that this isn't one of those topics that, you know, we're not allowed to touch. I don't know why we wouldn't be allowed to talk about it, so hopefully they let us. Alrighty, y'all. So don't be a stranger. Come back and see me, and I will talk at you later. Bye, y'all. All right, everybody. It's time for treats. No, not that.
I don't know what you're talking about then.
And first of all, what is he doing? He's straddling it. You're straddling it. What are you doing? Alright. It's time for treats. It's time for treats because everybody did such a good job going bathroom.
Get in, Teddy.
You know what you gotta do, Teddy? his face. You know what you gotta do? Wow. Okay. 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 He's forgotten all of his learning. He's forgotten everything he ever knew. Wow. Wow. 45 seconds of failure. This video is 45 seconds of failure.
He's looking at it.
Everything about this video was a fail. There was one fail after another. Literally, what the fuck? Failure, 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 and failure. Wow, that's your child. Your child. You.
He's our puppy.
Okay.